So I wonder why people aren't marching the streets and why people aren't saying her name. This is a case from 1951. Her name was Henrietta Lacks. She died of cervical cancer, leaving behind 5 children, and her family was impoverished. Her family is now, as of May 2022, that's the last article I found on the case, they are now suing a biotech firm with the name Thermo Fisher Scientific. It's a biotech company, which we all know Pfizer and all of them are under. And her family is suing them for, for using their mother, well, grandmother, cells without their knowledge and without their consent. They did not consent to it. It's a whole big case. You really have to read about it to really know about it. Basically, in 1951, Henrietta Lacks, at the age of 31, went to a hospital in Baltimore, Maryland. They took a sample of her cells. The nurse saw something interesting and she sent it over to, I believe it was John Hopkins Hospital. The doctor over there, he saw that her cells were multiplying at a rapidly fast rate, whereas other people's cells died. Her cells didn't. Hence, her cells became known as the HeLa. H, capital H, lowercase e, capital L, lowercase a. HeLa. Eternal cells. Her cells have caused the creation of the polio vaccine, in vitro, and so many other medical advances. But the biotech company, Thermo Fisher, they said to the family, "Oh, well, you're 10 years too late. What happened? You didn't come 10 years ago." They lied up until a certain point. They said they had gotten the cells from a Helen Lane. Finally, investigations have been done, and there was a book and everything created about this, where they found out they did not tell her that they took a sample of her body, and after that, they did not get her consent. She died a few months later. They did not tell her family. Her family was impoverished for years. Okay? Her family should be reaping the benefits of this company. This is a multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical company. And you mean they can't pay her out? They're talking about, oh, well, statute of limitation. It's been about 10 years too late. Sorry, guys. Okay? Let me tell you something about black families, especially the elder people. A lot of times the elder people, they don't like confrontation. They kind of were like, let's just ride it out. Yeah, we just found this out. And then it's kind of like, for the elders, it was kind of like opening an old wound. Mama died when we were young. We got, we were left with our father. It was hard on us. So and then to find out that this place has been making millions and billions of dollars off of something from your mother. So a lot of times, and 10 years ago, things were different than they are now. 10 years ago, people weren't chanting around the world and out in the streets, Black Lives Matter. People weren't chanting 10 years ago, civil rights and bringing up old cases from the 40s and the 50s, trying to settle them if they could. People weren't doing that 10 years ago. Whereas now, there's a lot more civil suits. There's a lot more things to look into, everything. So I urge people to look into the Henrietta Lacks case. Her family deserves the entire estate. Their lawyer for the family, I have to look more into it. I'm not sure if the children are still living. I think a son is. He's really old now, but the grandchildren are. And that's the thing. The younger generation, like myself, we're like, no, no. They using grandma. They using great grandmas. Like, what? And we sitting here and they reaping the benefits. So, younger generation like pushes the older generation. Now, like the older generation maybe has died out. Maybe there's like one or two left. It's kind of like, let's go, let's do this. So I don't think there should be a statute of limitation on this. I really don't, because it's someone's cells, it's someone's body. Okay? And if you know anything about culture or anything, this right here is a no-no. It's like, how dare you? Okay, how dare you? And I'm going into another room because my kids are out there like going crazy right now. And I want you guys to be able to hear me. But it's like, how dare you? And then they're saying, well, okay, how much do they want? Because they always think like they could just throw a little bone at us and we're just going to be like, all right. Because that's what they think about us. Like, they just throw a bone. And the lawyer said they deserve eternity, forever, money. Like, there's no limit on that. Like, it's not just one payment. It's forever payment. And they were like, what? That's impossible. We can't do that. You can't do that? But in 1951, you took this woman's cells, which you named the Gila effect, which you said are eternal cells that have caused many vaccinations to come into place and in vitro for women to have babies. And you're telling me that this family doesn't deserve a lifetime? They don't deserve to be heirs to the throne that the biotech has created? And then you sit there and you wonder why during the whole pandemic, a lot of African Americans weren't running out to get what? Because look at you. You can't even give this family the money they deserve. But you think we're supposed to run into your arms and say, go ahead, inject me. I don't know what you put in that. I don't know what's really going on. You can't even give this family reparations for their deceased loved one that you took her cells all those years ago. Man, bye. Like, they deserve the money. Give them the money. Forget about that statute of limitations. There's no statute of limitations when you take somebody's breathing and living cells that create eternal, they said. These cells will always replicate themselves. These cells will always live on. They will always use these cells. Give the family the money. That's all I have to say. They deserve the heir to the throne. They deserve to be put up there because that was their loved deceased one that you took. But I forgot, you guys don't know nothing about the dead and how to respect the dead and what to do. Because if that was me, I would say give it all back. Give me all her bodily tissues back. You know what I'm saying? You got to respect the dead. They disrespected the dead. Okay, she died. And they went on to use her cells for many things that caused them billions of dollars. How dare they? Give the family what they owe. Look up the case. People need to start saying her name. People need to start chanting her name so that their family can get what they finally deserve. Okay? People need to say Henrietta Lacks, the Lacks family, their legacy, the one that has saved so many people, especially of their people. Okay? Saved so many of their people from polio and other diseases and help them with in vitro. Okay? So give their family their legacy. All right? Give them the respect and the dignity they deserve. Now, if anybody has found any more about this case, I was looking and looking. I haven't seen anything since May of 2022. I'm hoping that biotech can be the bigger, whatever, company, man, whatever you want to call it, and that they will give the family what they need and what they deserve. Okay, don't just give them like $1 million settlement or even $30 million settlement. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. Give them a lifetime. Give them the heir to the throne because this was their mother, grandmother, probably even great-grandmother now, and so forth. Eternal cells that have caused so many wonders. Say her name, Henrietta Lacks.